Hey guys, welcome back to Easel Does It Studio Paintings. So today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to be painting this cup. So last year I had made these cup toppers and I have two of them. So this one was going to be for my husband and this one's going to be for me. And then I made them and I had every intention on painting the tumbler, but I never got around to it. So I figured, oh, why not do that now? All right, so let me just get, and this way here, we're kind of like at a little bit better angle. Hopefully you'll be able to see my paint. These are acrylics. All right, so I'm just gonna get a couple of different colors on here to start with, and then we will, wherever it takes me is where we will go. All right, so I got some brushes. All right, so I just pulled out a bunch of different paints because I don't know really. I do want to have like a boat scene, so we'll probably have some land down here. We'll have some water. We'll have a sky. I'll put in some trees. We'll put a boat. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what we come up with. All right, so I'm going to start with the bluer. Let's get some color kind of going on in the sky here. So I'm just gonna get the blue on. So this is kind of the same way I do my Christmas ornaments. So all it is this is a stainless steel tumbler, and I just sanded it, spray painted it white. Actually, I think it's a gray. And I just, I want it to be a sky color, but I also want it to be a different shade than what we're going to use for the water. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of smoothing that out as we go. And then what I'll do is I'm gonna cover these in resin once the paint dries. So I will do that over on my other page. All right, so I'm just going in with the cobalt blue right now, just so we can and there's definitely not much of a contrast. All right, so I'm just gonna blend some of this cobalt up into the sky. And I'm gonna just change this up here in just a second. Let me get some white. All right, so I'm just gonna grab, I think, a little bit of turquoise. And then we're gonna just kind of go right over. So as I'm doing this, I'm just lightly trying to get some of the brush marks out. It's basically all I'm doing right now. All right, so let me grab some turquoise. All right, so I'm going to take some turquoise and I'm going to put some brown. We'll start getting in some of the sand at the bottom, so we can kind of let that blue dry a little bit. More than enough, but that's all right. I have another cup that I got to do anyways, so all right. So I'm going to pick up some of the brown. And I am going to go right up over some of that, some of the blue. Because I am going to make, you know, the bottom not straight. I'm just trying to get like that, just a base kind of color going on. Because it always works a little better when you already have some color laid down. So just kind of wiping my brush out here. Now I'm going to pick up some of the turquoise and yeah, that's gonna be a much better color. And then we can, and it doesn't even have to be a straight line at that horizon. We're gonna probably put some little distant trees or whatever. All right, so and I haven't done something like this in quite a while, so it might take me a few tries to kind of get the look that I'm kind of, yeah, like that's kind of what I was going for. You know, just so it kind of shows there's a little bit of movement in that water. Now I'm barely touching that. And hopefully the angle is okay for you guys so you can kind of see what I'm doing. All right, now let me get, all All right, I'm going to put a little bit of black on here. And I always say a little, and then I put way too much. All right, so let me see. I'm going to take some black and some blue. Let's see. Do I want mountains or do I want trees? Yeah, let's just put a few little. Just putting some different little shapes in there. So I'm just going to pull some a little darker, some a little lighter, some higher, some lower, just to kind of give you know, just some different. You know, there's just different heights and things like that. All right. Now, let's see. I'm just going to take a little bit of white and just kind of just so we have a little something something in the sky. And this is pretty much just barely anything on this brush. Just putting in some little wispies. There, that looks. We have some that are a little bit brighter than others. Okay, so now let's see. I'm just going to take this and we're going to and as you can see, I'm like barely any paint. All right, we just got a little movement here in our, and let's just see. Just if we can have a few kind of looking like they're kind of crashing. All right, and then we're gonna, do something down in here. So let me go back and I'm gonna use this angled brush, and we're gonna take some brown and some white. Oh, hang on, I just noticed I got a big gob of black here. I would have stuck my finger in that for sure. I'm just trying to get more of like a sandy, sandy color. And then I'm going to go back and I am going to put some more dark through this. I'm just trying to get like more of a smooth base. just going to wipe this, and I'm just going to pick up just kind of giving, you know, maybe a little bit of that wetter sand up at the top. You know, because your sand isn't always all the same color. And that's kind of where why I'm adding the dark and the lights. All right, let's just smooth that out. And then we're gonna pick a spot where we're gonna get our boat put in first. All right, so I'm going to go in with just the dark brown. And let's see. All right, now I'm going to take some black and mix it into that brown so we can get a darker. Oops. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. All right, now I'm going to have to make a lighter brown. And you know what? I made this go in the wrong way. I wanted the peak over here. So we're just gonna, we'll change the shape here. I'm gonna square that back off. Whoa. And then we will put the front of our boat. There we go. Because I want to put some post and a rope. All right, so we're gonna, let's take some blue, some brown, and some white. Kind of like a gray. And then I'm just going to wipe the rest off on this paper towel. Actually, I'm going to wash my brush right out. All right, now let's see here what we can... There we go. Okay. And I'll just have to bring this down. Darken this back up here. All right. So while I'm letting that dry, let's go ahead and let's see, we're gonna fence post. All right, and I'm just gonna set these into the dirt. And see where I made that ubu? And we're just gonna put some dark there. All right. And then let's see. Now I'm just gonna kind of go underneath them a little bit with some black, just to give like a all right. So let's try this cobalt color and see. All right, so let's see. I want to put I don't know, a different color on this boat, just so it stands out a little bit more. Just maybe let's go do a little bit of red here. And I'm going to take a smaller angled brush. And then we're gonna, like, I don't know, put some sand or something around the boat. I don't want it bright, but I don't want it, you know, like too dark either. Let me try this. Let me try it. It's been a long time since I've done a boat. All right. Let me... So I'm not minding the red, but I've got to get... So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to redo this whole boat. So maybe what I'll do is I will turn this into a canoe. I'm not able to get my angle right. All right. Let me dry that. So let's, that's... That looks better. More like a boat. All right, so this got to be... And then we're gonna... All right, that looks a little bit better. I just want to highlight this just a little bit. All right. All right. We're gonna call that done on that. Now I do need to put like some sort of a hook so we can get so we got to get a rope here. Let's use a thinner liner brush. I'm going to take and get some little bit of darkness underneath. Hang on here. My brush is too wet. Okay, we're just gonna call that good. And I do want to put just a little just a little something like that. Okay. Kind of like a little sandbar there, or we can actually even put a little bit of greenery there. Kind of make it like a, I don't know, a rock or something. All right, let's just... All right. And let's see. Let's get some green. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put a palm tree right in here. Because I don't like this. Take some black and brown. And then I'm going to go over these. With some green once I get this darker color in. Okay. All right. And let's just take some of this green. All right. I'm going to put just a touch of yellow. Just to really so the only thing when you are working on little things like this, it is crucial that you keep your hands clean because you are more apt to touch the, you know, the painting. Just to kind of give a few little highlights. Just every now and then. And just to give a little brightness. All right, so we are almost. I'm just gonna. Get these into the sand. Okay. Yeah. Just put a little something down in there. And let's just put All right, I think we are gonna call this one done. I do just want to put a little bit of, let's see, just a tiny, tiny little water line. I'm gonna just wet this brush. Just kind of giving like a shadowy. All right, so let me sign this bad boy, and all right, so what am I gonna sign it with? Let me sign it with some turquoise. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use a marker. Let me get one of my paint markers. So the only thing that I've put my whole name on is like my cups or my Christmas balls, because on the paintings I sign it on the back. So this is and I'll leave that in there for now, but I just want to show you with the cover on. So we have a complete beach scene with a beach topper. Now, I could have put some seashells, but I think I got enough in here. I don't want to make it too busy. Alrighty, guys, that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, put it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that. It does help my channel. Yeah. And I will post some pictures once I get this all epoxied up. I'll probably get that done maybe this weekend. So, yeah. I will see you guys all later. Bye.